Finally got the flagstone done. I'm waiting for these rains to pass, and I'm going to give it about a month, and then I'm going to clean the actual flagstones off. We just had a rain, much needed rain, so everything's wet, but it looks very grayed over because it's got some concrete on it, so I'm going to power wash it in about a month when I know it's cured completely. And then I did some work on this side to make the pathway wider around the corner so it's easier to get the wagon over there. And then my hydrangeas are doing amazing in the heat. They were struggling a little bit, but now they're blooming. They will be off-white and then pink, a couple of shades of pink. I'm going to plant star jasmine all around the kennel so that we don't see the dog's area. And then I've got a rose there. I'm going to put a rose here in the center and then on the other side over there so that we have beautiful roses, but then the evergreen of the star jasmine for the winter time. And then over here I have two blackberry bushes, and then you can see the pathway. You can see a lot of crabgrass. I'm hoping that the rains that are coming, the rains that we had last night and that are coming, will help. It's about 18 inches tall, as you can see over here. Will help to pull it out. So this is the flagstone. I'm going to be doing something with that concrete pad. I have an idea. Not sure what I'm going to do with the bed over here. We've got a pond that I'm going to be changing up a little bit again. Not quite happy with it. This area in the back, we are, after the rains and after it dries out, probably in the fall, we're going to be using that to mulch, and then that's going to be a play area for the boys. So back over here, we have a apricot tree, and then here we have some sort of an orange tree that's going to have to go inside in the winter. If you look up close, see if I can find some. There are little tiny oranges on it. There we go, right there. A little tiny orange. And then bubblegum, Vista bubblegum, or whatever it's called. I'm not very good at names. Here is a crepe myrtle with some purple heart underneath. It's a little bit crazy because I've been working on trying to shape it, so next year I'm gonna have to prune it better. Here we have some iceberg roses and some mandevilla, which again will have to go inside in the winter. They can't grow out here. Some salvia and some ground cover here. My strawberry planter, which I thought I had it set up on drip and apparently did not, and so it died off. You can see how gray the flagstone is over here because it's covered with concrete. Over here we have the garden, of course, and then we have matchless mother rose, some white verbena, super verbena whiteout, some petunia, which I've never grown in the ground before, my climbing roses. On the left we have James Galvan, and on the right we have the Eden climber. The James Galvan is a little bit bigger than the Eden, but it's starting to send up some big shoots all of a sudden. I just need to train them around the arbor. I have some back in the back there, that's cucumber that I haven't had any produce on yet, but there's some baby cucumbers on there now. Some butterfly bushes, I've got 4 of them, 2 bright pink, a light pink, and then on the end a purple. For some reason those 2 are growing really slow. I planted them this fall. Here is a very struggling Rainier cherry. It came with hardly any leaves on it. Is not doing well, but I'm hoping the rains help it. A lot of things in the landscape I won't go over. Lantana, various things. Here is a gomphrena, one of my favorite plants. It's just started, and I have several of them that were volunteers, so I replanted this one and it took, some of them died. Here I have another cherry tree. This is 3 varieties. And then here I have a Royal Raindrops tree that is just absolutely stunning when it blooms. And then you can see my crabgrass, my nemesis. And there's lots of plants in there. You can't see them because the crabgrass is not choking them out. They're still living, but just dwarfing them. There's some more petunia. There's some creeping daisy in there, which is the first time I've ever grown that. I grew that from seed. And then over here is the pond in this last area. This area of concrete that looks like it kind of ends, well, it does end, is going to go around this area and up to meet that side of the concrete pad that's behind the concrete pad, just like this other area over here. So I'm going to match it on that side, probably next year or in the fall. I'm not sure exactly when, but at a decent time of year when it's not such a struggle for them to do it and not so hot out here. Right now it's been terrible. Here's some more Superbena. Can't remember the variety of this purple one. Some more Superbena. It's becoming one of my favorite. Sorry about the blurry. And then more Superbena. This is another one of my favorites, the pink one. I really like the pink and the white. They just started to take off because I gave them a feed of slow release fertilizer. And then I have more roses over here, none of which, well, one's in bloom, one's got 1 flower on it. Some chaparral sage, which if you don't grow that, and you can, it's absolutely amazing. The hummingbirds and the bees love it, and it is so fragrant. Over here is a oh my goodness, what is that called? Can't think of it right now for some reason. It is a white flowering plant that's an evergreen, and the name is just escaping me right now. Anyway, again, you can see volunteers here. There's another gomphrena. There's a gomphrena back over there. There's a lot of cosmos right there, all volunteer. And I did pull some up and replant it, but honestly, they just don't do well when you do that, at least in my experience. This one did. I've got one over here that was struggling. As you can see, it's kind of brown, but will come back because of the rain. And then I've got to get it on drip. I've been manually watering it. So that's just a quick peek of what the garden's looking like these days, or the landscape. Now I'll go into the garden and show you that. The garden's on drip, so it's not a issue regarding watering, but in the heat of the summer I usually have to give it some extra. Here's our Fuji apple tree. Here's our peach tree, which is leaning more and more. I think I need an arborist to help me, if it's not too late, maybe try to pull that back so it's straight. There's the cucumber, tons of tomatoes. I just preserved a ton today, and you can see it's just loaded, absolutely loaded. Have more than I can eat and give away, so I'm learning to preserve them. And then our strawberry tower. Love these flowers so much. Strawberries are struggling right now because it's too hot for them. There is my pumpkin that I've never grown before. And then I have watermelon. I have 3 watermelon plants in here. The watermelon is starting to grow through the fence. I'm going to put these things there to hold them up Let me see if I can find the pumpkins. I have 2 pumpkins. Don't remember exactly where they are. Oh, there's one right there. Let me go around the other way, see if I can see it a little bit better. And then there's one out there. There we go. Never grown a pumpkin before, and I've got 2 that are about that size. So very excited about that. Just for decor, not gonna eat them. There's a massive basil that I let go to flower. Zucchini. See if we have any that are ready to be harvested. Not yet. There's a couple tiny ones on there, but I've harvested a few of them already. More tomatoes. More tomatoes. More tomatoes. These are all the bigger varieties. And then here's more cherry tomatoes. And again, they're loaded. And I've already picked a ton off this one. Probably tomorrow I'll come out here and pick some more. They're an indeterminate variety, so they get huge. And I keep cutting them back. Here's a couple of pineapple guavas. This one is really struggling for the first time this year. We've never had fruit yet. And then this one's doing amazing. These will get, they can get about 15 feet tall, and they drop their fruit, which is nice when it's ready. And then I'm going to keep them, I'm going to try to keep them no wider than this. And I can do it in a tree form if it starts to get too unruly. But I'm just trying to figure out what's going on with this one. I'm having a hard time. We have 4 blueberry bushes. They're also struggling. They're new this year. Lots of strawberries underneath. Some zinnia here. Red's not my favorite color, but the hummingbirds love it. A lot of cosmos everywhere. More blueberries. That one is really, really struggling. And then there's one on the end. And then back over there, we have a fig tree that is pretty massive at this point. And I need to really prune it. I pruned it last year, but I need to prune it more. It is absolutely loaded with figs. They're just really slow to ripen. Then this is my compost, vermicompost bed. All of these I put food in to feed the worms, and I have them in each bed also, different type. And I fed them pumpkin from last year from my decor, and this gets massive. I just cut it way back yesterday because I do not want this one to grow. I'm just letting this one be a trap crop for bugs. And then this one is where I get a lot of compost from. You can see how rich the soil is. That's what I feed. And then I just put, these are all volunteers, volunteer basil everywhere. This, I think I planted a couple of these. The bees love these. I'm not a fan, but the bees love them. And then more volunteer basil. The only thing that I planted in here was this rosemary that I think is getting too much water now. And then some salvia. There's a couple salvias. There's one there, and then there's one, oh, right here, that were in the landscape that were struggling. And I put them in here, and this one's on drip, and so it's doing pretty amazing. So that's a tour of the garden. Oh, I have some lemon balm here and over there behind the pineapple guava. And then I had 2, I think I had 6 in the landscape total, but 2 in the garden, bougainvillea, and they looked dead until June, and they came back just a few weeks ago, a couple weeks ago, and so really happy about that. And then I think that's morning glory behind their seed that I just threw down, and both of them took off, so that's really cool. And some mint, and I think that's pretty much it for the tour of my garden. I'm working on changing the ground cover. I really don't like this stuff, but it does help keep some of the crabgrass. You can see some's growing over here and some's growing over here, but it's really easy to pull out now. because this is probably about a foot or 18 inches worth of gravel. It's a lot of gravel, so that we don't have crabgrass. That's the goal. But it does come back, and I just have to pull it, and it's really easy to pull. So my apple tree is very young, and it's putting on some new growth, which is good. So that's pretty much it. And here is the shed, and then the house, and then beautiful rains that are coming again. We had some last night, we had a little bit today. We're supposed to have them for the next week and a half. We'll see how it goes, but it makes me so happy because we have had the longest drought ever in this area. So take care, God bless, and I hope you enjoy your garden.